was a side-by-side comparison of the new State House buildings versus the old State House buildings. And the headline, I believe, was "Not Our State House." And it's very interesting. I think there's so many things that happen in this country. Now, sometimes inakupata tu unawares. Like, oh my God, you mean a whole roof was removed at State House and we didn't know about it until now? Also remember that State House has received billions of shillings for renovations. So there has been mixed reactions. On one side, you have people who say, hey, this is heritage. Oh, it should not be changed. On the other side, you have people who are saying, what is heritage? You new colony, kwanza, those colonialists and their things should get out of here. So today, I want to ask you, do you support the decision to actually change the look of State House? Because now it looks more like have you been to Machakos? You've seen the Machakos county government headquarters. It almost looks like that, man. We've lost, oh my God. It feels painful, huh? Mr. Baker, wherever he is, the architect for State House, wherever he is, may he rest in peace. He's rolling in his grave. He's wondering, what has happened? But anyway, that's what we're talking about today. But of course, on this show, we don't just come to talk about things that are trending for the sake of it. But we look at things from a legal angle, okay? And so today's question is, what happens when it comes to matters to do with heritage? Does the law actually protect heritage? Are there certain architectural buildings, for instance, that cannot be brought down, okay? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Also, as we look international, because sometimes I think in Kenya, we like to pretend like these things are only happening to us. But when you look internationally, what are some of the lessons you can learn about how developed societies have dealt with questions of heritage? And then also, maybe if you have time in there, I'll tell you about a house that was almost demolished for the SGR. You're not going to believe this because it's a house but you probably don't know the intrigue behind it. Anyway, for now, let's get some music and then we come back. We continue with this conversation. Old State House versus new State House. And that's just for the roof. Even the pillars, my God. The pillars used to be where the doors are. Now there's a pillar and a window. Then the doors are somewhere else. Hey. Lamba Glucose. Let's get some music. Let's go.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
So far
Yo. Karibu sana, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about new state house versus old state house. Now, Kenya's current state house used to be known as Government House, and Sir Baker was the architect for this building, together with a few others. I think he's also the guy who made City Hall, I believe, and the archives, if I'm not wrong. Anyway, today, or rather yesterday actually, over the weekend, there was a lot of shock when people actually looked at the building and realized, wait a minute, what has happened to our state house? The roof has been changed. And of course, some of the questions as well that people are asking is, should a person just wake up and decide they can change, the state house building? Because, it's that building does not belong to an individual, The building belongs to the country. It belongs to the people. So even in terms of renovations, should just all renovations be allowed to happen, or should there be some form of guidance even legally? I don't know how you feel about it, because as I said earlier, on one hand, you have people who say, the building has a heritage of its own, it's important for our history. Then on the other hand, you have people who say, but it's a colonial building anyway. There's no colonial legacy that we want to have. And today morning I saw a picture of a Maasai woman, picture taken in the 1800s, and she had no shoes, and she was very beautiful actually, black and white photo. But I realized even when you talk about colonial heritage, the fact that you're wearing shoes right now, that's colonial heritage, because the reality is our cultures, we're about earthing, grounding yourself. Yeah, we've been the grounders since day one. The fact that you're hearing me speaking in English and you can understand me, that's colonial heritage. So I think that argument, for me, makes no sense at all. That because it's colonial heritage, then we should just go and do away with it. And the thing is, perhaps we need to think about it in terms of the intellectual property value, the IP value. Today, if you think of some of the most famous buildings, for instance, if I told you think of the White House, what's the first thing that comes to mind? It's the top. It's the top part of that White House, isn't it? If I ask you to think of the Eiffel Tower, if I ask you to think of the Statue of Liberty, there's something that automatically comes to your mind. Now, developed nations have actually tapped into this. And I'm going to be talking to you about some of the revenues that historical buildings bring to countries, especially in Europe. Humble brag. I was in Germany sometime last year, and I remember we just said take a tour around Frankfurt. We saw houses and chapels and churches, buildings that were actually built in the 1600s, the 1500s. I actually walked on a bridge that had been built by the Romans. You just think about that in 2025, you can actually go to a place in Germany and walk on a bridge that was built by the Germans, by the Romans. That's hundreds of years ago. So is it that in Kenya we don't see that value in preservation of that sort of heritage? Because you'll also remember in Westlands the other day, there's a guy who was called Desai. And if you don't know this part of your history, please go look at it. Desai was an Indian gentleman who used to really give a lot of support to guys who are fighting for independence. Akina Kenyatta, even Jomo Kenyatta actually stayed in his house. So, in a sense, Desai's house is what you'd consider a cultural heritage. Like it should be a museum, because they would meet there and they would plan about, their fight for independence and all this. Well, surprise, surprise, Desai's house was brought down, and today they're building apartments there. As in, we've lost that history completely. We'll only read about it in books. But it's not just a problem here. Have you guys seen photos of Mandela's house? The one Nelson Mandela? Oh my God. Actually, the other day, I think, was it a granddaughter or daughter of Mandela? They were selling his personal effects online. Like, someone is selling Mandela's passport, for example. Why is it that on this part of the world, we actually don't value heritage that much? We don't see that great value in heritage. Because for me, I think one of the things that architecture does for us is it gives us great heritage. There's a history behind everything, okay? That history is very, very important. And one of the things I think successive generations and successive governments have failed to do is to actually focus on the heritage part of Kenya. Because it's been very easy to move in support of, new developments and all this. I remember, for instance, when they were building the expressway, you remember, if you've been to Westlands, you know the big mugumo tree, right? They had to have a campaign for that mugumo tree not to be uprooted. And today, even when you pass by the expressway, you wonder, why did they want to remove the tree? It's actually not on the road. But people had to petition the president for them to come and save that tree. And that tree is hundreds of years old. We don't value heritage in this part of the world. But one thing we value is money. So after this song, I'm going to tell you how much some of the buildings, historical buildings in the world, are bringing the countries, especially in Europe and the United States. Then maybe if we make it a money conversation, someone will listen. Sindio?
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Imeweza na kakienda basi enda na imeweza na ukibebwa basi bebwa nayo kitu safi and chain chain mali safi and chain chain kitu safi and chain chain mali safi and chain chain wamlambes kauli manisha kwa champes nimewacha kuwa siri ndio maana na bachain na machingri na squeezy hata ukikam na sansesi shikiki na daily niko busy na mabig fish wa jiji macheku seniwa dikalama ziandiki mawenki bao kuzibeba ni tizi na kaka nisa empty hakuna kasisi baadaye niko rienya ma drinks na mayengs banaye niko dings dona nikibleki ten sai siko right side itabidi nime left chupori venye ziko brother nikaza imeweza na kakienda basi enda na imeweza na ukibebwa basi bebwa nayo kitu safi and chain chain mali safi and chain chain kitu safi and chain chain mali safi and chain chain mina machampes tuna pop ma champagne hadi mama ploti ana call ma sanse aki dani ni magas shot za bunde nani squeeze tumekafunga tukatupaki ndio maana miudunga kamsumari na kitu imebaki ni kumea tu kitambi jundani ya wolenje nina kambi ya ganji na squeeze sina rende nina ganya wafuasi imeweza na kakienda basi enda na imeweza na ukibebwa basi bebwa nayo kitu safi and chain chain mali safi and chain chain kitu safi and chain chain mali safi and chain chain mini kama dread after nywele shaggy baby better and improve making power moves daily sikuizi siwezi lose chance niko rada deadly na kama movie ya romance siwezi kosa pepe perienga deli cheze kami na kamnas my yanks na my drinks acha bashi bank aspika ya matri wakitete kiako there wambie call police imeweza na kakienda basi enda na imeweza na ukibebwa basi bebwa nayo kitu safi and chain chain mali safi and chain chain kitu safi and chain chain mali safi and chain chain
Mali safi iende chain chain. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about heritage, okay? Now, there is something called architectural conservation. And basically, architectural conservation is ensuring that you preserve a building's history by preserving its original components along with elements as much as feasible, okay? So keep it as it is. And why is it important to promote this? Number one is that it's important for cultural identity, okay? Architectural landmarks can often serve as a symbol of a community and its tradition and history. Like imagine if they bombard the archives and put up a office block there. When you say archives, there's a picture that comes to your mind. That's the power of cultural identity, okay? So when these structures are preserved, it reinforces what we call a sense of pride and a sense of belonging among residents, okay? And it helps to pass down cultural knowledge. But there's also economic and social benefits. Now, for instance, in Europe, as I was saying, and even in America, Europe actually has more history compared to the US. There, heritage sites often attract tourists, providing a boost to local economies through tourism-related activities. And this is very, very important, that people can actually come and spend their money to see a building that has been built, to see an iconic landmark. Now, let me give you an example. Westminster in the UK, this is a building in the United Kingdom. Sawa sawa. How many visitors do you think they get in a year at Westminster Palace? How many visitors do you think they get? Now, according to the last report that had been released on this, in 2017 to 2019, okay, this is almost 7 years ago, the average annual visitors to Westminster was 25 million. 25 million. People have gone and they've spent money. And not only do they go to Westminster, but they go to other historical sites in the area. You have Somerset House, you have the London Zoo, you have the National Gallery, you have the Tate Britain, you have the National Portrait Gallery. Now, how much do visitors spend when they go to the UK to look at Westminster plus other buildings, for instance? 1.7 billion pounds. Now, 1.7 billion pounds is probably like 250 billion Kenya shillings. That's how valuable history is. That's how valuable heritage is. So the reality is, when we look at around, when we look at our country, we have to approach development also with a sense of the idea that the past is not something to be just torn down and forgotten. There is value in actually having the past. And one of the things, personally, one of the things I've always said is that Nyayo Torture Chambers should actually be converted to a museum and people pay to go and see what used to happen to people in there. For some reason, Kibaki shut it, Uhuru shut it, Ruto, I don't even think we should expect anything from Ruto with regards to torture chambers, considering he has already built his own. But the reality is, we are actually not going to experience that part of our history. Why? Because it remains hidden. One of the fantastic things that Chief Justice Emeritus Dr. Willy Mutunga did is that at the Supreme Court buildings, in the basement, we used to have cells for holding people. Mutunga came in and revolutionized that place, and he created what we call the Judiciary Museum. If you're ever in town, and I think it's free of charge, if you're ever in town, just go to the Supreme Court buildings, tell them you want to go to the Judiciary Museum. And there, you actually get to see a lot of Kenya's history. Who are some of the judges that were there? You actually get to know the first Chief Justice, Adi Wasai. You get to see what judges in colonial Kenya used to wear. When you got independence, what were judges wearing? You get to read about some of the controversial decisions. That is history. And that history is valuable. And I don't even think its value comes from money. So that we say that it's about, a specific or particular amount. So we have to protect cultural heritage. As we've said, there is a benefit, an economic benefit through tourism related activities. Now, let me give you some examples of preservation of architectural legacies. Now, you have the India's Royal Opera House in Mumbai. And so this is, these things I'm reading, weka kwa hiyo bucket list yako. You actually, let me tell you, guys, you walk into a castle that was built in the 1300s, and you just marvel at humanity. Like, oh my God, people are able to do this? It's amazing. to even be able to see statues that are still standing that were commissioned in the 1500s, in the 1700s. In Barcelona, you have the Basilica La Sagrada Familia, building that has been well preserved. Of course, who can forget the Taj Mahal in India? Okay? Recently, France spent hundreds of billions of Kenya shillings, to actually hundreds of millions of dollars, to bring back the Notre Dame Cathedral, which had been burnt down in a fire. Why would people spend so much money if it's just a building? That's because they understand the value of that building. Not everything, guys, is about personal taste and money. And what I feel has happened here in Kenya is that someone has just decided to turn the entire building to his personal preference, as if he's never going to leave the place. You know, it's very unfortunate. We are losing our heritage. Yes, it was built by the colonialists. That's fine. But perhaps a conversation needed to be had about it. So the iconic roof is gone from State House. What does this mean for us? But also for architects. What does this mean? What does this mean for architectural work and the value of architectural work as we move forward? I think already you can see my position on this. But you know what? It is what it is. I just want to find out from you. Are you in support of this move by government to change State House as we know it and to have it as a flat roof? How is that making you feel? I'm watching out for your comments and your thoughts on this. And then we're going to be reading that out. And of course, remember, I told you, you can also request any song of your choice. Flozy is here, and we're going to be playing that for you. But for now, let's get some music. Let's go.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Oh, let's go.
Yo, yo, yo. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the new state house. New state. But they've been on kama tutafika 2027 na kuna vitu nyingi sana zitatushtua. I think the day the doors will be open, it'll be like, what happened? Kuliendaje huku? Okay. Now, I want to read for you the list of national monuments because State House is a national monument. Let no one lie to you. The State House of Kenya is a national monument because it is a building that belongs to the country. One of the things I've always wondered is why don't, and this is rare in African countries to find that the State House is opened up to visitors, for people to just come and see the place. I don't know why we don't like to do that here. And perhaps part of it is because our idea of power is that power must be protected and kept secret. You know, we still have a lot of people who have that sort of mindset. But the White House receives so many visitors in a year, and that earns them a lot of money. What would happen for us if we also just decided, you know what, this could also be a route, that we take. Perhaps even if people could just be going to Parliament, we have guided tours in Parliament, people would not even need to storm it. But anyway, that's a story for another day, as controversial as that may be. Now, let's see. This is, as of 2018, these are the numbers as of 2018. The number one place with the highest number of visitors per year is the Forbidden City in Beijing, China, which gets 17 million visitors. Next is St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican City, which gets 11 million. Then the Palace of Versailles. Is it Versailles or Versailles? Well, wale wase wa France huko, but I think it's Versailles. It gets 8.1 million visitors. The Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. in the U.S. gets 7.8 million visitors. Then you have the Forum Romanum Colosseum, Palatine Hill in Rome. It gets 7.65 million visitors. In Greece, the Acropolis of Athens, Parthenon in Athens, gets 7.2 million visitors. The Eiffel Tower in Paris was getting 7 million visitors. The Taj Mahal in India got 6.5 million visitors. Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, 6.25 million visitors. The Cologne Cathedral in Germany, 6 million visitors. The Peterhof Palace in St. Petersburg, Russia, 5.2 million. The Statue of Unity in Kevadia, this is India, yes, 5 million visitors. Then you have the Lazienki Palace in Warsaw in Poland. That gives you 4.9 million visitors. Then you have the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., which brings in 4.7 million visitors. You have the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C., 4.6 million visitors. Then you have the Independence National Historical Park in Philadelphia with 4.5 million visitors. Sagrada Familia, that's in Barcelona, 4.5 million visitors. Then you have the Statue of Liberty in New York City, 4.3 million visitors. Ladies and gentlemen, think of those numbers. Do you know Kenya celebrates when you get 1 million visitors to the entire country? Entire country. Tunafaa kuwa serious. And I think we need to rethink even what you talk about when you talk about the attractiveness of the country. The reality is this, ladies and gentlemen. Heritage must be protected. And there's great heritage in architecture because architecture tells a story. It tells a story of who we are. It tells a story of where we've come from. And it also tells a story of what is important to us. There has to be a way to protect such things, even from presidents, where you actually have to go through parliament to make such major changes to, national infrastructure. Otherwise, what happens if the next guy comes and he wants to plant trees on top of State House? And then the other one comes and they want to put up blue tiles. You are left now in a season of endless changes by people based on their ego and their personal interest, which I don't think should be the case because these are national assets, these are national items. So, what are Kenya's unique historical sites? Like, what's a building in Kenya you look at and you're like, that's a nice building. For me, one of those is Kipande House. Kipande House is such a beautiful building. Kipande House, tukiwa maandamano nilidiscover watu wajuangi barabara. I was just there hearing people say, yeah, I'm at this blue building. There's like some statues. Wabera Street ndio. Wabera, guys. Anyway, Mandamano people. You remember GPO? You remember the shell at GPO? That's why we'd run to hide after Tiagas Merushwa. Next to that shell is Kipande House. And Kipande House currently houses KCB Bank, but that building was built in pre-colonial Kenya. It's such a beautiful, beautiful building. I like it. It's simple, it's small as it is. So what are some of the historical buildings in Kenya that you've probably come across and you've been like, hey, that's a very, very beautiful building and a place that you'd actually want people to visit? I'm looking out for your thoughts on that. But then we take some music, and then when we come back, we talk about the beef that happened between a building owner in Kenya and the standard gauge railway, because they had decided they're going to bring down a house. So why did it become such a big deal? And eventually, what saved this house? That's what we're going to be talking about when we come back. It's now 5:47. We'll be done with this show by 6 p.m. So if you'd like to request that song, if you'd like to give us your feedback, this is about the time to do that. Let's go.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Usiku wa joto, usiku wa manane, usiku usioishia, katikati ya Julai, tulikuwa na furaha, hatuku stress na uhai, tulijua tu city lights ya Nairobi, they shine so bright. Remember dancing in the moonlight up until the sunrise, strobe lights glaring oh so bright, katikati ya July, ya July, ya July, ya July. Skin to skin, follow the beat the whole night. Oh, we'd be disco queens, but that was way before our time. Our life is now, so we take it. So let's run naked, paint the city pink. We deserve to take it. Let's get our lick back, fight the system, we can break it. Chase our dreams until we make it. Dancing in the moonlight up until the sunrise, strobe lights glaring oh so bright, katikati ya July, ya July, ya July, ya July.
It's your girl SDL. You know how we do. We make it sticky like glue. Michelle sing it. Oh,
Heshima kwa huyu dada, jamani ametoka far.
Tunawakilisha,
Yeah, we're taking it back, just taking it back. From this beat, we on fire. STM, Michelle,
tunawakilisha.
Yeah, we're taking it back, just taking it back.
Yo, I'm on my way back home. Already packed my bags, can't wait to get home. Clear everything else away. Don't wanna do nothing else but walk my way. I'm going back to Kenya, back to the fine weather, back to grandma. Ain't nothing else I'd rather sit on the porch and drink grandma's porridge. Talk to my elder, listen while I speak knowledge. Next morning, be on my way to Nairobi. Do another song, babe, now they all know me. And magazines can write all
ametoka far. That's STL. Still doing great. Akiwa Maju, Manze, STL. We celebrate you. Now, UNESCO has actually declared several sites in Kenya as World Heritage Sites, which means they are protected, right? Now, number one is the Lake Turkana National Park. Then you also have Mount Kenya National Park and Forest, of course. We also have Lamu Old Town. Lamu Old Town is a heritage. So if you want to change that place, you'll have to jump through a lot of hoops. As well, we have the sacred Mijikenda Kaya forests, which are also protected as a heritage site. Then we have the Kenya Lake System in the Great Rift Valley. Okay, this has been added to UNESCO World Heritage Sites. This was done in 2011. Then, of course, after that, we have Fort Jesus Mombasa, which is considered an architectural masterpiece, and it was gazetted in 1970 and inscribed to the UNESCO World Heritage List in 2011. Then, of course, we have the Thimlich Ohinga archaeological site. Do you know about this one? Thimlich Ohinga refers to a frightening dense forest in Luo language, the Nilotic group who occupy the region. Now, the stone structure enclosure has walls ranging from 1 to 4.2 meters in height, which were built of loose stones and blocks without any dressing or mortar. That's in your country. Ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not. Now, I want us to talk about a building here in Kenya called African Heritage House. Okay? Now, the African Heritage House is a national monument in Kenya and has actually been declared so by the National Museums of Kenya. It has been classified and gazetted under the National Museums and Heritage Act in 2016. It was designed by Alan Donovan and it was built to preserve forgotten architectural designs of the African continent. The house, which faces Nairobi National Park, allows visits by the public, and you can visit for a tour, have lunch, dinners, events, conferences, and even overnight stays. Okay? Now, the house inspiration depicts the towering mud of the Great Mosque of Jenne in Mali, the mud palaces of Morocco, Swahili architecture of the East African coast, Zanzibar and Lamu, and the traditional houses of Ghana and Burkina Faso. Now, in the year 2014, African Heritage House was at risk for demolition to pave way for planned standard gauge railway that was built by the Kenya government through a Chinese company, the railway line from Mombasa to Nairobi. Fortunately, the house was saved through online campaign petitions to stop the demolition and the classification of the house as a national monument in Kenya. Why don't you take out your phone and then go and look at African Heritage House? It's the most photographed house in Africa, I believe. Just imagine, we're going to destroy that for a railway. Hey, thank God for the online petitioning. You know, guys, by the way, one thing I realized is that there are things that we consider valuable that perhaps people in government, they're like, what's the big deal here? And that's why we need to continue to actually lend our voices to some of these things. Maybe there's someone who doesn't see what's the big deal with State House being turned. I mean, if I want, I can even paint it blue, you know? But perhaps that's the idea they have because of maybe the level of ignorance they have or the exposure, or, you know, these are not things they consider important. And citizens, you and I actually have to always lend our voices to say, hey, according to us, this does not work. This should not work as it is. Mpata. So, find what you care about and make enough noise about it. Because if they hadn't done that for the Heritage House, that house wouldn't be standing where it is standing today. So, you know what you need to do. That's all from us. This is usually a very short show, and we always think inaisha haraka sana, but we're going to be making some changes very soon. Let's see how that goes. But for now, let me just wish you a lovely week. It's been raining heavily. Please, please, please do not drive your car in flood waters. Just wait. The waters will subside. Okay? And remember, the governor has said we paint all the buildings in Nairobi CBD because it's going to help us with the drainage. Have a good week.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
safari tunapita kama moshi, na kabla tuzame mchangani kuna kushinda na kufeli. Oh, inabidi ujijue tofauti ya mwalimu na mwanafunzi ni ujuzi na ujuaji. Oh, it's unbelievable that we make it this far, undeniable. We see the promised land from afar, and it's so beautiful. No, they can't touch the fire, and you know it's not in vain. Steady tripping through the pain. Oh, man. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. On the midnight train. Siku zazidi badilika, mengi yazidi kunipita jama. Oh no, maji yalipozidi unga, hawakudhani tutafika. It's unbelievable that we made it this far. Undeniable to see the promised land from afar. So beautiful, they gon' know who we are. They keep on walking in the rain. Kuna blessings in the pain. Whoa. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady, ready, ready, ready. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion, Zion. It's on our road to Zion. Nothing will ever deny us. Whatever it takes, keep on rocking. Whatever it takes, keep on moving. To Zion, to Zion, to Zion. Yeah, 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 yeah. Rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion, to Zion, to Zion. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.